Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my new video. My name's AJ. I'm here to talk about the main issues that's been happening last few days. I'm going to do a quick roundup and what my thoughts are and give my opinions. And I'm going to be talking about Lithuania, obviously. Also going to be talking about Biden begging China to release some reserves and what my thoughts are on that. I'm also going to be talking about China and Russia's deal with Iran, gas deal as well as oil deal. Also going to be talking about the tennis star and a bit about India as well. So without further ado, guys, let's continue. But before I do, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. And also, I just need 2 more Patreons to join my Patreon. I'm currently on 28. So if we can get it up to 30, that would be amazing. So just need 2 more people to 30. So let's try and reach that 30 figure. And also, guys, if you really like the video, don't forget to buy me a coffee. So without further ado, let's carry on with the show, and we'll start with this story. So China has been named the richest country in the world, and the economic net worth in 2000 was only 7 trillion, but it now stands at 120 trillion. So in 20 years, look how much it's grown, by 113 trillion in 20 years. That's an amazing feat, guys. And compare that to the United States with a net worth of 90 trillion. And the United States has been around as a developed country for over 100 years. So for this achievement, China has done great. In terms of PPP, China is also leading US, but in terms of GDP, US is still leading. So I think that's the main goal, and hopefully by 2027, 2028, China should be able to lead that as well. In terms of being rich, I still think China has got a long way to go. It will need that money, a lot of money, for more investments into things like climate change, renewables, things like that, and also more in terms of infrastructure. And it still needs to develop the western side of China, the Xinjiang area, Tibet area. So a lot of investment will need to go into there. China will need a lot of money for the military as well going forward. So it will need a lot of money, and also a lot of people that have come out of poverty, they're still in lower middle class income. So they'll need a lot of help to go into the upper middle class income, so they can start contributing further to China's GDP. So yeah, China still has got a long way to go. It's still a developing country. It's according to the UN and World Bank and things like that, WTO. So it's still classed as a developing country. So China still has got a long way to go before it reaches developed status. But unfortunately for the US seems to be going further and further down the spiral, really. I did a number of videos about this, and I'll probably do another one in depth about USA, but I'm not going to go further on that. But it seems like a lot of the middle classes of America are heading into poverty. So many homeless people walking around the streets in America. Absolutely sickening, guys. So many deaths. A lot of these homeless are dying because they're not getting help regarding diseases, not just COVID, but they're getting diseases from the streets. They're dying of overdoses. They've got no health care. They've got nowhere to live. And plus, right now it's very cold as well. So we don't know a lot of these homeless people will survive in the winter as well. So it's very sad for them. I'll try and do another update on the America situation, but that's for another day. So let's carry on with this. So I want to kind of show you this story I saw on Gravitas, and it's actually quite funny. So I just want to share this with you guys. So bear with me a second.
China is now the richest country in the world. It has overtaken the United States. China's net worth is now $120 trillion, $30 trillion more than that of the United States, $120 trillion. China may be the richest country in the world right now, but it's not a tag that it will be able to hold on to for very long if things continue the way they are. Because wealth is leaving China, and some of it is heading towards India.
Did you hear that, guys? All that wealth is leaving China and it's all coming to India. Oh, this woman! I don't know whether she takes like some drugs or something before she starts reading the news, because literally I never see her eyes blink for a second. She's like almost like a zombie, looking at the screen, and she seems to be believing in her own crap, to be honest. And it's just laughable. I mean, India's status right now, I mean, come on, guys. Look, it's the most polluted, country in the world. I mean, look at Delhi. They've closed down shops, businesses. They've closed down coal mines, and still there's huge amount of smog in India. And this used to happen to China at one point. And at one point, I think 10, 15 years ago, it was like this in Beijing and stuff. But Beijing did something about it, and they poured a lot of money into it, and gone into renewables and start building forests, and they did a lot of work to kind of clear out the air. So one of the reasons this is happening is because a lot of factories are coming up, because a lot of factories are starting and they need power. So how else are you going to do power? Then you start opening up coal mines, burning more coal, fossil fuel. Because India doesn't have a huge amount of renewables. Their power is mainly on fossil fuel. They also have a lot of agriculture as well. So what a lot of farmers do, they burn their produce as well that they can't sell. So getting it ready for the next season. And also Diwali as well. They burn a lot of fireworks for Diwali. So number of things really, and it's horrible, guys. I mean, this smog is 10 times worse than the national average. And if this carries on, people's life expectancy would less than half, and all of these kids will grow up with lots of diseases, serious diseases, lung diseases and stuff like that. And this woman is talking about, taking, all this wealth from China moving into India. So how else is India going to, power up all of these factories and stuff? Tell me how. Because to power up factories, to move stuff in India, you need power. And in order to generate power, you need more coal mines. I mean, India doesn't have a huge amount of nuclear, doesn't have a huge amount of renewables. This stuff takes time. This stuff takes a lot of effort. And how else is India gonna do that except doing the power? India doesn't even have the infrastructure like China has. It doesn't have the supply chains. So I really don't know what this woman is talking about, really. I think she's living in cloud cuckoo land. Seriously, someone needs to just I think she just needs to get a boyfriend. That's all she needs. This woman has got serious issues. Anyway, I'm not going to dwell too long on this story. I'll move on to the next one. So you got the Chinese tennis player who's come out last few days on video. She's actually done a call with the Olympic chief, and the WTA, World Tennis Association, says Chinese tennis player call with the Olympics chief is not enough. What the F do they want then? Do they want her blood? Seriously, what the F do they want? I mean, she's come on national television. She spoke to the Olympics chief saying she's okay. She says she wants a bit of privacy, so leave her alone. What the hell does what WTA want from China? Seriously, and even countries and White House are joining in, and people in Jen Psaki are talking about it. Seriously, this is like top page news, and all she wants to do is to be left alone. When people go missing in America, does China start? Do you see the Chinese government saying, "Oh, we demand, where is this person?" It's got nothing to do with the White House. It's got nothing to do with the world. This is, if she wants privacy, give her some privacy. Seriously, why is this front page news? They're looking at anything to smear China. Anything, any news article comes up, they just use that to smear China. Seriously, just clutching at straws, really. They're not doing much on Uyghurs anymore. They're not doing much on Tibet or Hong Kong. Now they're clutching on straws and picking up all of these, stupid stories. I'm just sick of it, guys. Sick of it. So, I'm going to be talking about Lithuania now. So, as you know, Beijing has lowered the diplomatic status to the lowest. This is with Lithuania opening a Taiwan embassy. Um, so, I mean, everyone knows Lithuania. I mean, look, Lithuania is a very small country. It's got 3 million people. And Lithuania doesn't look at Europe for help. It looks at America for help. And it's become America's poodle. And it's been America's poodle since the Bush days. I remember when Bush was going to war in Iraq, Lithuania was one of the first countries to support him and stuff like that. And then Bush was like, if anyone messes with Lithuania, you know, they're messing with the US as well, as if. So Lithuania are a country who look at US, and I also remember the time when Trump said that Europe was not paying enough to NATO, and they all need to pay their fair share to NATO. And Lithuania was the first country that increased its country's GDP and put it into NATO. I think they added it by 2% or something. So whatever America says, you know, Lithuania is like, yes sir, whatever you say sir. Lithuania is one of the countries, and I think Lithuania right now is being used by America as a pawn to kind of piss off China with regards to Taiwan, because America doesn't have the balls to do anything like that, nor does Europe, or nor does, you know, a lot of other countries. So they're using Lithuania as a pawn, and all of this is just going to look bad for Lithuania, guys. One thing is for certain: Taiwan is going to reunify with China at some point. You know, whether it's within 5 years or 10 years, but definitely within 10 years, it will reunify with mainland China. So what's Lithuania going to do then? It's going to be stuck, basically. There's going to be no diplomatic relation with China, and if Taiwan reunifies with China, what's Lithuania going to do? I just think it's very, very bad foreign policy in terms of Lithuania. It's very stupid, in fact. They're not looking at the long term, 5 years, 10 years from now. I think it's really, really stupid, following blindly, following America blindly. And a lot of countries that have followed America blindly, they've all been burnt. And you just have to look at the history. You know, you've got to look at Afghanistan, Vietnam, even places such as the Marshall Islands. Remember when America was testing nuclear bombs in the Marshall Islands? And all of these people America came to as friends, saying, oh, we're here to help you, we're here to, you know, look after you. Marshall Islands, people in Marshall Islands are mostly dead now. You know, there's only few people left. Most of them have died with cancer or nuclear radiation poisoning. All these kids are growing up, you know, disabled. You know, and they've taken up most of these Marshall Islands and turned them into military bases. You know, America does not give a crap, you know, about Lithuania. You know, if the chance ever came for America to drop Lithuania, they would drop Lithuania within a second. Unfortunately, Lithuania doesn't see that, and I hope one day they open their eyes and they realize how much they're being used. I just think it's very, very bad foreign policy in terms of them. They're not playing it wise or clever in any way whatsoever, and I think this is just going to burn them in the future. Whether it's 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, one day Lithuania will regret their actions, and I'll tell you that now. So there's a story that Biden has asked China to release the reserves, and I personally don't think China should agree to this for a couple of reasons. Number one reason is Taiwan. So if ever a war breaks out in the Taiwanese Strait, and United States decide to boycott or blockade all kind of shipping that's going into China, blockade all the oil and things like that, and America would be able to do that. And I think there is a white paper created in the Obama years how they would do that if there was a war that ever broke up between China and in the Taiwanese Strait within the island. And China would need a lot of its oil reserves for emergencies such as that. So they will definitely need all of that oil reserves. And second reason is with the prices being so high right now, the oil, basically, if China releases all of these oil reserves, chances are when they want to replenish these reserves, the price is going to be so high, it's just not going to be worth it. So they're going to be losing out on all of these reserves and replacing it with something much, much more expensive. And in terms of, if you look at the economical side of it, it's just not worth it. And lastly, guys, if China do release these reserves, OPEC is going to lower their production and increase the price even further. Because OPEC is loving the price right now, the oil prices. These high prices, they're making a lot of money. Saudi Arabia, places like that, they're making tons of money. Russia even. So they want to keep the prices as high as possible. So if America releases reserves, China releases reserves, OPEC will kind of reduce output, and that in turn will increase the price even further. So I just don't think it's worth it. I think China should just leave it as it is, and maybe look at other investments like getting the oil coming in from Iran, because they made a deal with Iran, the 400 billion investment deal, and I've not heard anything about that. And I think China is probably waiting on the JCPOA and see what the progress is with that before going ahead. But I think in terms of JCPOA, I think Iran has already decided they don't care about it and they want to move on. I don't think Biden will back down. If he does back down and go back to the JCPOA before Trump pulled out, I think the whole of Congress will eat Biden alive, because that's how they are. They are very anti-Iranian, anti-Chinese. So I don't think that's going to happen. The good news is, guys, I saw this article. Russia has signed a deal with Iran in terms of securing a huge gas oil field in Iran, and Russia will take majority stake in it, but there's also Chinese stakes in it as well, and Iran is going to be taking the third stake. So I think it's really good for all the countries involved. Russia's going to put a lot of investment into the gas fields and even the oil fields. China's going to do the same. Russia's going to basically control all of the gas going into Europe, and especially ones that's coming out of Iran as well. And as China is also going to be investing in it, there's going to be obviously pipelines going from Iran to China as well. So this is really good news. And other good news is for Iran, because they need a lot of investment in Iran right now. Because as you know, with climate change, you can't have fossil fuels forever. So Iran is starting to lose a lot of time. They got huge reserves, but they don't have the money or the capital or the experience to kind of get those reserves out of the country and sell it. And they can't sell it because of the sanctions as well. So everybody's winning. China's going to be investing in it. Russia's going to be investing in it. Iran will also be making a lot of money out of it. So I think it's a win-win for everyone in this case. I'm all for something like that, really. So I'm just going to end today's show with stupidity of Boris Johnson. He's saying either mainland Russian gas or stick up for Ukraine. So he's basically telling the people of Europe, either decide if you want gas and you want to stay warm for the winter, or stand up for Ukraine. Obviously everyone in Europe or even everyone in Britain are going to say gas, because people want to keep warm. This guy is absolutely ridiculous. Every time he opens his mouth, it's just, it's like a circus clown. Nobody takes him seriously whatsoever. So if you're a person living in UK and you've got no gas and you're freezing cold, are you really going to think about these Ukrainians hundreds of miles away, thousands of miles away, who you don't even know, you don't even care, you just want to make sure you are warm, your family is warm, You got enough gas to cook. You got enough gas to keep warm. You know, you don't give a crap about Ukraine. So this guy, especially during winter, he's saying people, you know, Europeans need to choose whether they want gas or whether they want to back Ukraine. You know, this guy, you know, he has got no sense whatsoever. No sense. If he was a clever man, he would follow countries such as Russia, because Russia is powerful. It's got, you know, now it's allied with China, and Russia is on its way up. And where is Ukraine? How is Ukraine going to help Europe? How is Ukraine going to help UK at this time? Seriously, if you're following, if you're going to ally with a country, make sure you ally with a powerful country. This guy's got no sense whatsoever. And now with the story that I've shown you about the Iran gas field, Russia's going to be a major player in terms of gas over the next few years and next 10, 20 years, especially with countries going away from coal. Gas is going to be the next major thing. Nuclear, there's a lot of countries who don't have nuclear plants and don't want to go into nuclear plants, such as Germany. And then you got renewables as well, and as you know, renewables is very expensive, and a lot of these developing countries, they can't afford to go renewables unless they get help from developed countries. And one of the major problems with renewables is energy storage. It's very hard to store this energy that comes from renewables, but coal fire allows you to do that. So, things are looking very difficult in terms of the energy sector, and Russia is going to be very, very powerful with access to gas and securing access to gas over the next 10, 20 years. And here is Boris saying, oh, you need to choose whether you stay warm in winter or whether you have some love for Ukraine. This guy is on another level, seriously, because this guy really doesn't know what he's talking about. It's just an embarrassment, really, just a really, really major embarrassment. Embarrassed to have him as a leader. Seriously, we didn't even vote for him. So let me know what you guys think. Let me know your thoughts. Send me some comments. Make sure you check your comments. It hasn't been deleted by YouTube bots. And love hearing from you guys. Love reading your comments. Love reading your emails. So yeah, contact me if you need me for anything, and I'll see you in the next video.